Hi, Matt Bacon here again with another part in our series on how to grow your band with collaborations. So what I wanted to talk about in this part was the actual nitty-gritty of collaborations themselves, right? Because the whole goal, I think this is important to remember, is to grow off of each other's followers, right? So I think other times it's very easy to lose track of that and think, oh, I'm just going to mooch off of someone else. But really there needs to kind of be an even exchange, and sometimes that exchange isn't between followers, but maybe it's, oh, this person has something really valuable to say, so I want to give them a platform, or something like that. Now, that being said, so elsewhere in the series, we talk about shout outs, we talk about how to find partners to collaborate with, and we talk about sharing knowledge to figure this stuff out. All that stuff is good, but I want to get into about the nitty gritty of collaborations, right, and what makes this work. And I think that's really the key, right? So the one secret, the big secret I really liked about this, and that kind of was the litmus behind a lot of this, was the interlocking format, because it means you have to watch everything that we're doing, right? To kind of get it, but also you watch one of my videos, you watch one of Andy's videos, watch one of my videos, watch one, and I love that idea of boom, 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 because then you're just rotating down the line and people are like, oh, wow, there's this whole other guy doing cool stuff I didn't even know about, and I think that's really cool because you're essentially feeding people through the machine and getting more views that way, which is really important, right? On top of that, there's just this whole concept of you can do more together than you can do alone. You are more than the sum of your parts a lot of the time, because, part of it is it's that little extra push. Maybe some of the people who watch my stuff will say, oh, I've heard of that Andy Dowling guy. I really should take some time to check out and see, okay, what's going on here, vice versa with Andy's, it's more the sum of the parts. It's oh, there's added value here. And anytime you can up the value by 10%, you can bring in 20% more people. And if you bring in 20% more people, then you're starting to get somewhere, right? And it's the same thing with bands. It's the same reason split releases work and have been so compelling for so long, right? Because it's oh, not only are we pulling off of each other's friends, but we're, coming up with a piece of content that can unify the scene and bring two groups of friends together and bring two groups of music together sometimes, and that's what I think makes it really interesting, is this idea that you have different perspectives and different audiences uniting, right? And I have my opinions as a guy who's done a lot of stuff, in Western Europe and kind of the northeast of the U.S. and the U.S. as a whole, and Andy has a whole different perspective because he's toured places I've never even heard of, in East Asia and throughout Australia, and that's awesome too. And I think this is a really important thing to realize, right, is that, okay, cool, you can create some interesting content on your own, okay, cool, you can do whatever, but if you want to go beyond, if you want to bring more to the table, if you want to kind of be that guy, then collaborations are sometimes the best way to move forward, even if it's not always self-evident, even if it does sometimes take a little bit of practice and it does take time to figure it out, right? Ultimately, like we said before in this series, the only way to kind of start collaborating and grow on collaborations is to actually reach out and talk to people. If you don't reach out and talk to people, then people aren't going to get it. If you don't say, hey, I'm looking for people to unite with, hey, I want to do something, hey, I have this idea, then you're not going to get anywhere. Literally, this entire series started by me tweeting, hey, would anybody else be interested in doing a collaboration on YouTube with me? And I got a few answers, and Andy was someone who was down to do it. And so now here we are. And that's what I think is really important, right? Is just having a willingness to go for it, and then understanding, cool, I want someone with a different perspective, a different fan base, and then we're going to grow together because we're more than the sum of our parts. We're building together. We're building towards something a lot more meaningful, right? So ultimately, obviously I want to ask you to like this video, subscribe, comment. That really does mean the world. And if you could go and subscribe to Andy's channel and watch all the rest of the videos in this How to Grow Your Band with Collaborations playlist, that would be incredibly cool and helpful. But I want to leave you with just sort of a final question, which is essentially, how can you collaborate? Ask yourself that. What content can you create that you can collaborate with someone else on? What content can you create that's going to make people go, oh, that's not a way I thought of doing that before? That's the creativity part that I can't really feed to you. We can give you the blueprint, but you're going to kind of need to figure out the nitty-gritty on your own. But I think that's kind of one of the most exciting parts, So, like I said, please like and subscribe, comment. It means the world. And I'll see you guys soon.